You can now get a 30-day trial to experience The Athletic for free. Visit the link in the description below to try it now.
Hello, welcome to Tifo IRL. I am JJ Bull, and in this video we're going to talk about Trent Alexander-Arnold, this guy, and we're going to ask whether he is a central midfielder. So is he a central midfielder? The answer is no, but also maybe, because although he is a right back, and we know he's a right back, he likes to wander around the pitch, and there are things designed to make him be able to do this so that he can start as a right back, but affect play from the middle of the pitch here, from these sorts of positions here, and from here as well. Because he's got an amazing right foot, he's able to deliver balls into the box that help others score, and that's what we're going to look at. How does this work, and whether he is a central midfielder but also a right back, or just a right back? Let's look at that. So what is Trent? Well, he is a right back, but he's also, him and Andy Robertson have been Liverpool's most creative players over the last few seasons, or at least two of them. And Alexander-Arnold's done this in a few different ways. So originally what happened when he first came into the team is that Liverpool play this kind of 4-3-3, which is sort of a diamond in midfield because Firmino drops deep. But what happens in the final third is that Salah, Mane, Firmino, they all turn up around a bit here. Your midfield here, Thiago didn't play there, but we're going to leave him in because he's nice. And what happened is that Robertson and Alexander-Arnold make this sort of run here to stretch and give them a front five. And Alexander-Arnold and Robertson would both then get into the box at times, and they'd be able to score goals that the other had set up. So you get this sort of ball into the box, crossed in. Of course, Mane can attack that, or Firmino, or Salah. But sometimes you get Alexander-Arnold or Robertson would score, but mostly they provided assists for the attackers. So although they were defensive players, really, they were actually attackers. They were both fullbacks and wingers. That's what first happened at Liverpool. So they're essentially wingers. But opposition teams realised this because it was kind of obvious. And so what they started doing was, rather than playing a back four, they would play a three against Liverpool. Let's drop a three here, two in midfield here. And then what they would do is they would drop the wing backs back. Have I got wing backs here? Yes, I do. 4-3-4-3. Wing backs back. And so that way, Robertson and Alexander-Arnold were effectively man-marked all the time. Very defensive system. Often sit back like this kind of four here. And so Alexander-Arnold and Robertson became less, not so much less effective, but they just had less space because it was blocked that way. And then what teams started doing after that was they even started playing, they played a five, they would drop an extra player back to form a six. So there definitely wasn't any extra space for one of these midfielders to try and affect play and make things happen. But that's what happened when Liverpool were just amazing a couple of seasons ago, 1920 season when they won the league. That's how it worked. So teams adapted to how Liverpool were playing, and so Liverpool had to adapt. And now what's happened since is that although the players aren't always the same as this here, what's tended to happen is that to make sure that Alexander-Arnold could get on the ball and affect play in positions that he's very useful, Henderson would move out to this wide area. And so that's where the fullback would be looking to block him. In fact, let's give him just a normal shape. This is the opposition in a, yeah, I'll give him a 3. So Henderson would now become the player who is kind of blocked, because Henderson would be the right midfielder out of a 3, and he would come across here, and that frees up the space in the middle here for Alexander to come into. Salah's more forward, like here. And then from these positions, Alexander-Arnold can play these sorts of balls to the back post, or what you can do from even deeper positions. We've seen this a lot of times. These will play just a ball from this sort of position here, where it curls round to this sort of position here, or more often than not, he plays this sort of pass that just kind of curls around the side of a defender. The kind of thing that Henderson would do in the same position. It's just a positional rotation. So Henderson comes out here, say, Alexander-Arnold moves inside, and then from here, he's got all these different options to move the ball for forwards at the back post, or, as he often does still, is chip a ball over the top for someone like Salah to get in behind. It just means he can make use of all the different things he can do, because he's great with the ball at his feet. But what's now happened is that Henderson's not played, so we've put Harvey Elliott in. So again, midfield 3, I'll get rid of these passes. Midfield 3 of Elliott, Fabinho and Thiago, as we saw in the last game against Leeds, before Elliott was injured, obviously. And what happens now is that in certain situations, Elliott will pull wide to facilitate this, so that's one of the rotations that you see. But also what happens is that if Elliott's still central, Salah pulls out even wider than he has done in the past. So let's put them in a 4-3-3. opposition shape. There we go. So yes, Elliott, rather than being here wide as he does a lot of his play before he gets injured, he stays here in the central bit. Salah stays wide, and that then pulls this defender out here, which again, it just creates this space between Elliott and Salah for Alexander-Arnold to work in. So if you think he's a winger in this wide area here, he can move into the half space around about here. Need to make the half space a bit different. But he can also operate in the central areas. And this move from Salah, I mean, Salah is less involved with play in the forward kind of three here or in the final third anyway. He's more of a facilitator by dragging players wide and stretching the play. But that has meant Alexander-Arnold can get even further forward. And there's times this season where we've seen him receive the ball like here, like a 10. So he started as a 2, he's moved into positions as an 8, and now we're even starting to see him play in these sorts of positions as a 10. Oh, and also being a winger. A 7, we'll call him a 7. So if Trent is so good at playing these sorts of passes and he's so creative, that he's one of the most creative players in the Liverpool team, why are they playing him here? Gareth Southgate played him in midfield. Well, the reason for that, basically, is that Alexander-Arnold gets more of the ball here than he would in midfield, where it tends to be more congested. So here, last season he had the second most touches per 90 of any Liverpool player, behind Jordan Henderson, who would tend to drop deep and link play, but also played a lot of last season in central defence. So that's one reason. Because centre-backs and defensive players generally tend to have more touches of the ball. When they receive from a goalkeeper or an attack fizzles out and they control it, you get these short sideways, passy, sideways boys. That's what they do. And so they get loads of touches. And you'll see that often on stats tables, defenders, centre-backs specifically, will have more passes and touches than any other player on the pitch. So Alexander-Arnold's getting more touches of the ball here. It's also when Salah pushes up here and Firmino goes here and Mane goes here, he suddenly has all of this space to move into unless they apply someone specifically to mark him. But normally what happens with a 4-3-3 when you're pressing is you'd be around about here trying to attack these sorts of positions, trying to block the pass out to it, then you've got to carry him. He just has more space to get the ball. He also is able to get more touches on it so he can affect play more. And then he's able to get into positions when he's not a right back to start. He's then essentially an extra player. So he's creating an overload in midfield, which allows him to, again, have more touches of the ball. So this season, in 4 league games, he's had 89 touches per 90 of the ball, which again is more than any other Liverpool player. Second last season, Henderson, kind of a cheek, he played in centre-back a lot of the time. But yes, that's why he likes to do it. Another thing that's good about him being a right back is that if you start higher up the pitch, like Salah does up here, say there is a goal kick, he'll try and push up as high as he can. Liverpool pushed up the pitch like this. Van Dijk is back, and Van Dijk really likes to play this ball. He loves this pass. Salah can push in here with Firmino and Mane. Alexander-Arnold can start really high up the pitch. Robertson can then get high up the pitch, and it just forces the opposition back. So this ball from Van Dijk to Alexander-Arnold, who's then is wide, suddenly you get positional rotations. Either Salah pulls out wide, he goes into here, he's covered by Harvey Elliott, or Henderson now probably. Or again, Salah stays here, Alexander-Arnold pushes wide, Elliott does that. Or he goes here and he'll play a little 1-2 with Salah, moves in here to Elliott's position, who then comes out wide to support it. So Alexander-Arnold is playing 100 different roles, 100 different positions, but all of it is conducive to Liverpool's attacking play. He is then also in position for defending. There's another video we have on Tifo about some of the lapses in defending that he has had. It's kind of exaggerated. He's a decent defender. But yeah, great player. Not a midfielder, even though he sort of is, and I can't be any clearer than that. And for more analysis like this, subscribe to Tifo IRL. We love having you back. Have a lovely time.
If you like this video, please consider subscribing to the channel. The Athletic is where the Manchester United reporters revealed the truth behind the club's Jadon Sancho transfer fiasco, where the Tottenham reporters brought you news of Gareth Bale's return before anyone else, where the Chelsea reporters told us 3 days before his sacking that Frank Lampard was on the verge of losing his job. And you can try it now for free for 30 days. See the link in the description.